Call me Captain Stan. I'm currently the president and CEO of Philippine Airlines. I basically was born and raised in the Philippines, however, of Chinese descent. So my parents were actually very traditional and conservative. But as time goes by, they started to actually adopt to the changing environment as well. So I was usually the ones that did not actually follow the traditional way of doing things. That led me to actually this career of mine, which is not very popular among Chinoys. I realized that I wanted to become a pilot so I can use my skills and also to see the world. It's quite a noble job because you'll be actually connecting people all over the world. I'm proud to be part of this campaign and able to share my insights to inspire more future generations of Chinoy to actually take the unconventional route to go beyond borders. Catch me on Chinoy TV, presents Chinese by Blood, Filipino by Heart, only on CNN Philippines.
I'm Coach Golden Monteverde. I'm the head coach of the UP Fighting Maroons. Growing up, we were introduced to mga Chinese beliefs and we were sent to Chinese schools. Yung mom and dad ko is not that type na, would really be strict when you do something. Although, syempre, they would tell you in different ways. Growing up, I was not a perfect, child. Along the way I really appreciate yung parents ko kasi they never gave up on me and I felt that whatever I wanted, they just supported me. Eventually, when my parents knew that I was really into coaching, they would really support me. Even my siblings would support me in coaching. One of the greatest lessons that I learned at 17 through basketball was, to never give up. Our coach would always instill to us discipline and whatever happens during a game, just as long as you know that, you're giving your best and you're fine. I feel blessed to be part of this documentary and to be able to express yung sarili ko or sa heart ko. Catch me on Chinoy TV presents Chinese by Blood, Filipino by Heart, only on CNN Philippines.
I'm Donald Lim. I'm the Chief Innovation Officer of Udena Corporation and the Chief Operating Officer of Dito CME Holdings. I'm very lucky to be living in an age where people recognize me, they see my chinky eyes and they know I'm Chinese, but I don't get to feel any discrimination. I think sometimes I also have an advantage. They would have that assumption I'm better in math, I'm better in certain things, I'm more entrepreneurial. I can speak Chinese, I can speak Mandarin also. Now with my job in Dito, for example, when we talk to our Chinese partners, I can speak their language, I can understand them. I'm very happy to really have grown up in an environment where I have a good learning and understanding. I think the Chinese-Filipino culture, especially for those Chinoys here, very important for you to always recognize where you come from, where your roots are. And because if you know where you come from, you would also know and have a better appreciation of the world. And I suggest that every Chinoy would take advantage. Catch me on Chinoy TV presents Chinese by Blood, Filipino by Heart, only on CNN Philippines.
Hi, I'm Rosen Talti and I am a fashion designer from Manila. I am a second generation born Chinese Filipino. I actually grew up with a predominantly mixed language household. My father is actually in the car industry while my mother handles the family office supplies. One thing that my parents really taught me from the very beginning, and especially because when I was younger, I was bullied for looking differently from the rest of my classmates, was to really value my own individuality. I feel extremely humbled just because I feel like I bring in a different element into the community of, showing how having a creative expression can succeed and can be a viable life career for anyone who's interested or who has any sort of predilection to the arts and the music and the food and all of these, creative outlets. Catch me on Chinoy TV presents Chinese by Blood, Filipino by Heart, only on CNN Philippines.
Hi, I'm Brian Liu. I'm the E-commerce and Business Transformation Director of the Pen Shop Group. I was in Cebu until about 2008, until I was about 18 before college. I went abroad for college. Growing up as a Chinese and Filipino, we always had to respect and practice both traditions, specifically for the Chinese traditions. So we shared a lot of practices and elements, both for Filipino and Chinese. They brought us up to be both Chinese and Filipino and still citizens of the world, to always have an open mind, to always look abroad and look outside and not just confine ourselves to the Filipino or the Chinese culture.
Hi, I'm Brandon Liu. I'm the Associate Brand Manager of the Pen Shop Group. So I'm fortunate that I have very cool parents. My mom's the adventurous type, and I think I'm more like her actually. But in some aspects, I'm like my dad, where I think you see it in the way that the business is being run, that things can be very rigid and things can be very disciplined. And I appreciate that about him because I learned a lot about discipline from him. All of the cultures that we were exposed to, all of the new things that we learned about from different people was bringing global mindset to us in the family. And it helped open our minds and become more open about things in general.
I think it's great that we have a show like this that we can share our Chinoy experiences and stories with. Hopefully even inspire some other Chinoys out there with our brand story and with how we started as a family business.
It feels great to be a part of a global exchange of ideas and not just limiting to the Filipino-Chinese community, but to a broader community too. Watch us on Chinoy TV presents Chinese by Blood, Filipino by Heart, only on CNN Philippines.
Hi there, I'm Chinkitan. I'm considered as the pambansang wealth coach here in the Philippines. I was born and raised here in Tondo, Manila. So whenever I go out on the street, going to school, I would hear yung mga racial slur, like for example, inchik, teho, chekwa, diba, singkit. And it has been always in my mind that I need to prove myself towards others. I really work so hard. I turn night into day into night. I sold everything that I can get my hands onto. I really am so thankful and grateful because of those hardships. I turned my pain into my gain. I turned my scars into stars rather than becoming a victim of this situation. I'm proud to be Filipino-Chinese, and at the same time, I'm proud to be part of this campaign. It will promote the culture of the Filipino and the Chinese. There are a lot of good things that we can learn from the Filipino, and likewise, there are a lot of good things that we can learn from the Chinese. Catch me on Chinoy TV presents Chinese by Blood, Filipino by Heart, only on CNN Philippines.
My name is Justin Uy. I'm the founder and the president of Pro Food International Corporation. We are 8 boys and 3 girls. We call ourselves a basketball team. My father was actually born in Leyte, but he went back to China at 7 years old because my grandpa passed away, and come back to the Philippines at 14 years old. My mom is born in Cebu, and she is just a housewife to take care of all of us. Basically, we grow up under our mom watching us. I came from a pure-blooded Chinese family, but raised up in a Filipino way. So by blood, I'm Chinese, but by culture, I'm a Filipino. For me, it was an advantage because I have 2 cultures mixed together. I'm quite happy to be part of it. There's no difference to be a Chinoy than to be a Filipino. Please catch me on Chinoy TV, present Chinese by Blood, Filipino by Heart, only on CNN Philippines.
Beverly Lorraine Chuaho. I'm the Director for Health Promotion Bureau and the Disease Prevention and Control Bureau at the Department of Health. Growing up, we rented an apartment. We get brought to school by my aunt who lives with us. We always would have baon, not in money, but in food. That's really because it's part of pagtitipid. I also will remember that we don't have birthday parties when we were younger, except when I guess we turned 1 year old. And my parents would just say that it's better to share what we have for others. That was really the first few lessons of, I say, charity or generosity during that time that I learned from them. That it's not just about us, but really about the people around us. I'm very privileged to be part of this campaign, but also very grateful for this opportunity to promote the work that we do. Watch me on Chinoy TV presents Chinese by Blood, Filipino by Heart, only on CNN Philippines.
My name is Bonnie Tan. I'm the head coach of the Letran Knights. We are 7 siblings in our family, 2 girls and 5 boys. Nasa gitna ako. And typical Chinese family na natutulog sa isang room, yung magkakapatid. Once in a while, nandun yung cousins namin na nag-sleep over din, kami sa kanila. My parents are supportive sa mga plans ng mga anak niya. Especially to my late father na mahilig manood sa basketball, especially PBA. So, yun, including my atsis plays basketball. Lahat kami magkakapatid, naglalaro basketball. So, yun yung nag-mold sa akin to become what I am today. I feel blessed and honored to be part of this campaign, and I hope I can inspire more Chinoys to be part of Philippine sports. Catch me on Chinoy TV, presents Chinese by Blood, Filipino by Heart, only on CNN Philippines.
I'm Slater Young. I'm the CEO of Lightblock, and I also have my real estate company, Sky Estates, and I also do content creation. I grew up in Cebu, but parang yung culture namin is very province. My dad came from Dipolog, so very province vibes. We live in a very Chinese-style home wherein 2 stories apartment, and then sa baba would be the offices. Dun yung office ng construction company ng dad ko, and then yung bedrooms would be at the top. So I think it's a very Chinese thing, no? So very simple lang talaga yung upbringing namin.
Hi everyone, my name is Chris Uy Young and I am a content creator. My parents were like a typical Chinese Filipino set of parents. I can't go out of the gate of school unless my driver's there, like super strict and traditional. The family was super private. So this whole time I realized, now that I'm married and I have a different, family, oh, I lived in a bubble pala all my life. I think that's true for a lot of Chinoys. We hope that other people who are Chinoys also can see this video and also be inspired na, there are other Chinoys out there like you.
It's important to know that why we are the way we are.
Yes.
Maybe hopefully inspire other people and just have a little bit of a takeaway from our journey as being Chinoys. Catch us on Chinoy TV presents
Chinese by Blood, Filipino by Heart, only on CNN Philippines.
Chinese by blood, Filipino by heart. #Beyond Borders is brought to you by Jolly from Fly Ace Corporation. Doña Maria Brown Rice, my kind of rice from SL Agritech. BA Securities, your trading partner in Asia Pacific. Dash Cargo, propelling possibilities.
Growing up in a Chinoy family, so my parents were actually very traditional and conservative. I was usually the ones that did not actually follow the traditional way of doing things. That led me to actually this career of mine, which is not very popular among Chinoys. So my parents expected me to actually study hard, find a job, or at least continue with the family business. But that was actually never my intention, even as a kid. I was actually playing a lot of video games as well. So my friends actually encouraged me. Since I have good psychomotor skills and analytical skills, they actually suggested to me that why don't I just try to become a pilot? I'm Stanley Ng. People call me Captain Stan. I'm currently the president and CEO of Philippine Airlines. So this is the cockpit. This is basically my office actually in the past. As you can see, there's so many switches, but it's not actually that complicated. So I used to fly this aircraft for almost 5 years as a first officer before being trained to become a captain for the Airbus 320. So during that time, it wasn't so easy because I didn't know anyone, any pilot, or at least anyone from the airline industry. It's not quite popular in the Chinoy environment. When I decided to become a pilot, so I actually told my parents. Initially, of course, they weren't supportive at all. But they actually realized that I really love and have the passion to become a pilot. So they eventually supported me in my career. That's a big help, actually. I realized that I wanted to become a pilot so I can use my skills and also to see the world. Come to think about it, actually, it's quite a noble job because you'll be actually connecting people all over the world. So with the pandemic, we saw that the airline industry is so important to transport medicine and even vaccines, also the PPEs, face masks everywhere to actually save lives as well. In reality, there's a lot of hard work behind it and of course discipline to actually study and read your manuals. But I would say the most important thing is actually you have to be always in good condition to be able to always make the right decision. I've seen a lot of ups and downs since I joined the airline since 2003. But the pandemic is really unprecedented. And the challenge is really daunting, especially for the airline industry. During the pandemic, it was challenging, but you'll be surprised actually how many pilots and cabin crew actually volunteered to actually do the repatriation flights to bring our kababayans back home, even with the heightened scare of the pandemic. We also did a lot of cargo flights, even to our offline station, meaning that to places that we've never been before. That's something that's really a call of duty to everyone. As a customer relations assistant, because I'm a Chinoy, so I'm able to actually speak Mandarin, Hokkien, Cantonese quite well. So I was also the Chinese interpreter for the airport that time, aside from doing check-ins and boardings. So I was able to witness a lot of people that lining up. You see the difficulty when there's lack of efficiencies at the airport. So even during that time, I was extending a lot. Like I was doing OT because I just wanted to help the people to be able to take their flights. After almost a year serving at the airport, I actually applied for the PAL flying school. Luckily, I was admitted to become a pilot trainee for the flag carrier. The first flight to LA, it was my first training flight, flying the Boeing 747. So with my instructor, he was actually very helpful. He taught me a lot of things, very practical things that I can apply even until today. So I got promoted to become a first officer for the Airbus 320. That's actually where the action really starts for a pilot, because that's the time that you can actually do takeoff and landings with your license as a first officer. When I was promoted to become a captain, it was way back in 2014. So before that, I didn't realize the responsibility behind being a pilot is so big that you carry so much lives inside the cabin, that you transport them to connect them with their families or even business travelers to make transactions happen, and even transporting goods all over the world for the supply chain. From first officer to becoming a captain, the skills, I won't say there's much difference, but it's basically the responsibility and the accountability that's really heavier on this side. That's why among pilots, there's a joke, because when you're a first officer, when you look to the left, then there's your captain to guide you on what to do. But when you're a captain, you're already seated on the left side. When you look to the left, then you see the window and you see yourself. So there's no one to actually help you make decisions anymore. So you will be the ultimate decision maker of the flight. There's a deeper purpose actually of becoming a pilot, which I really wanted the younger generations of pilots to actually realize that earlier in their career. You really prioritize, because in the past, you might not think about your flight tomorrow. You might not be that disciplined to actually sleep, have enough rest for your flight. But when the moment I realized that immediately became my priority, to actually make sure I'm always in good condition, because I'm carrying so much lives behind me, and their families depend on us as pilots to bring them to their destination safely.
Chinese by blood, Filipino by heart. #Beyond Borders is brought to you by Jolly from Fly Ace Corporation, Cardinal Santos Medical Center, Evergreen Cereal, AgriPro Premier Nutrition Inc., Global Diesel and GU Engineering, Nation Paper Products and Printing Corporation, Ford Tractor Philippines, your long-term agriculture partner, Japan Parts Trading Center, Dash Cargo, propelling possibilities, For your copying and printing needs, it must be sharp. Philippine Sitiok Songlim Musical Federation Association. Landlight, your total lighting solution. Chua Beng Teng. Alejandro Ko. Jimmy C. Ng Family. Enrique Chua. Lee Pue Chin. Albert Ko. Stephen Sia. Rosalina Yasay. Anson Tan. Sherwin Choi. Chinese by blood, Filipino by heart.
As a president and CEO right now, my brand of leadership is always encouraging a culture of transparency and engagement. Maybe because since I started at the operations level, I know exactly what's going on down there. So I will be able to relate with them when there's some issues that they're encountering. And I always encourage transparency because I always believe that we are just humans. We all make mistakes. So I want them to be honest with their mistakes so that we can learn from it. The most important lesson that I've learned from my father-in-law, Dr. Lucia Tan, the chairman and CEO of Philippine Airlines, is actually resiliency. Ever since the pandemic, he single-handedly supported the airline, even funded with using his own money. That's something really that the entire Philippine Airlines team is really, really proud of until today, and very, very thankful for his support. When making big decisions, I look through three lenses. First, it has to be legal. That's the first one. The second, it has to be ethical. And lastly, it has to be economical. I will actually involve almost everyone, starting with the board members and the shareholders, all the way down to the employees. So first of all, this is really a service for the country. We will make Philippines proud again through Philippine Airlines because it's the first thing that people abroad can see when they want to travel to the Philippines. We'll promote tourism as well. In terms of the direction, it's really to differentiate, to show the entire world that Philippine Airlines is unique. Like the heart of the Filipino, well, we serve our passengers with extra care. Hi, welcome to the PAL Airbus 330 cabin. This is the economy section. We use this to fly to Australia and Hawaii and to the Middle East. Now we're moving on to the premium economy section. We have 24 seats. We always care for the comfort, especially for the longer haul flights. That's why we have this premium economy section for passengers to feel more comfortable. And now this is the business class section. And if you want ultimate comfort, then this is the way to go. So actually, digital transformation is also a big part of our plan. So our promise to our passengers is really to make things easy for them. Starting from the point of sales, when they book their flights, it's going to be seamless all the way to their destination by having a product that can serve them well as the service of our cabin crew and airport staff. Actually, for me, it's always about making a difference in this world. Use my current position to actually help introduce the Philippines to the world. It's always for the service. I would say that if you're able to serve your passengers well, it is always rewarding. I had one moment that there was a delayed flight, passengers were furious, and I was a customer relation assistant at that time. So actually my supervisor encouraged me to actually try to calm them down, which people always see me as being calm. So I think that's actually helpful as well. Being in my career as a pilot, I think focus and calmness is so important because you don't solve anything if you panic. And the only time that you can be so clear with what you need to do is when you're calm, but focused always. So the qualities of becoming a good pilot is actually, first of all, I would say presence of mind. You should be always focused on the task at hand, so you'll be able to make decisions that are crucial. Second, of course, you have to be disciplined with what you know and what you've what you've been trained to do. Continuous learning is so important because as the aviation industry, as we all know, it's evolving quite quickly. So we have to continuously update ourselves with new technology. And lastly, I would say maintaining a good concentration and good situational awareness is really a key factor. You have to be discerning on what to really do in a particular situation. But first of all, you have to know what's going on, or else how can you make a good decision if you don't even know what's going on with the situation? Actually, becoming a captain, I always compare it to becoming to a father. It's the head of the family. Actually, it's the head of the flight. I'm very serious with the job, but I always try to understand where they are coming from, because we all have problems outside work, right? At home, or maybe whatever, relationship issues, whatever. So I always put myself in their shoe to understand each other, to understand each of them better. I don't get mad easily, but they also know that I'm very strict with standards. So that's something that's really important to me, because we are all professional. There's a certain level of standard that's expected in each one of us.
Chinese by blood, Filipino by heart. Hashtag Beyond Borders is brought to you by Jolly from Fly Ace Corporation, Cardinal Santos Medical Center, Everbilena, PG Flex Linoleum and Maruyama Tarpaulin, Evergreen Cereal, AgriPro Premier Nutrition Inc., Global Diesel and GU Engineering, Nation Paper Products and Printing Corporation, Ford Tractor Philippines, your long-term agriculture partner, Japan Parts Trading Center, Dash Cargo, propelling possibilities, Philflex Wires and Cables, Landlight, your total lighting solution, Chua Beng Tang, Alejandro Ko, Jimmy C, Nung Family, Albert Ko, Stephen Sia, Rosalina Yasay, Lee Hongming, Chiang Kai-shek College Batch 21 Guanghui Alumni Association, Mary Ko, Andy Cheng, Chinese by blood, Filipino by heart.
During the 1960s, Lucio and Adelina Cochanco migrated from Cabanatuan to Manila. They were both rice mill owners who dreamt of a better living. We are here at Elcano Street, the heart of wholesale trading in Divisoria, where it all started. Lucio and his wife Adelina rented a small office with one staff. and began trading agricultural products. Soon, their children became part of managing the business. And in 1993, Fly Ace Corporation was born.
Hi, I'm Larry Kochanko. I'm one of the director of Fly Ace Corporation. So, at a young age, 10 years old, nauutusan na ako to do the collection and to do some deliveries, no? Sa Binondo kasi, usually, ang storefront is the office warehouse and then yung taas would be the bahay. No? So, every time you go to school or pag mangangapit bahay ka, no, you will pass by dun sa office. And then, you would see or hear things that is related to the business. So, basically, you are entrenched. The vision of the Jolly brand would be to be available in all households here in the Philippines. We want to develop a brand that is trusted and, of course, delicious and nutritious for the common Filipino to use.
Jolly ensures that everyone has access to fresh and quality produce at all times. Not only that, Jolly products are convenient to use. They can easily be stored in your home, and most are already in easy open cans. From successfully providing high-quality consumer goods, Jolly launched its first TV commercial in 2007. Jolly has maintained its partnership with credible personalities, as well as a great number of food content creators. Today, Jolly celebrates its 25th anniversary by cementing its leadership as a consistent leader in the packaged vegetables category.
Mainly, the success of Jolly brand would be the people behind the brand. Maswerte tayo that we got honest, maasahan, masisipag. As an owner, we show our employees what needs to be done. We do not tell it to them, but instinctively, they would understand that they would need the malasakit, no, in their daily routine. Business principles that I learned from my parents would be integrity. Tinuro sa atin ng parents natin, when you say something, you have to do it. No? Maski na napahamak ka na dahil nasabi mo, but still, you have to do it. After 25 years, the plan is for the Jolly brand to be available everywhere. We believe that eating healthy, nutritious, and delicious food should be accessible to all Filipinos. We want Filipino families to be more creative with their recipes and make their families more jolly.
I actually think that it really depends. It doesn't apply to Chinoys only. I think it's everywhere around the world. That's the same situation. It just depends on the value that you instill in your kids. So how you actually, their upbringing is so important that if they have good values.
So the saying that the first generation makes the money, the second generation inherits the money, the third generation loses the money, there is truth to that. And I have seen it with some of my peers where their grandparents made the money. The problem was the second generation maintained the money, but they did not instill the same values that were instilled in them because they didn't have to work hard to generate that kind of wealth. They didn't know how to hold the money, and they just knew how to spend the money. The money was just flowing out because they never knew how to make the money flow in. But that's not necessarily the case with everyone, because there are Chinese Filipino families where the parents, although they inherited the money, they're able to still instill the same values with the children so that the children can still progress and even grow the money. There are always exceptions to that rule.
Kami coming from the third generation, it's really unfair to say that because our generation is very comfortable. Because I have seen like my generation hustling their ass and so focused on career, they don't want love lives anymore. I think the previous generation are very traditional in their means, like what the business is that time. They have to continue with the continuity of the business. But in this time, I think it's really a changing time, and I've seen my generation, very fearless to pursue their interests. Rather, I want to say our generation are secretly like combining, mixing talents between traditional and the modern.
The gap is getting smaller and smaller already. Right now, more open-minded, more adaptive, and I think it's really important to actually collaborate and build good relationship, not because of race or ethnicity, but it's the whole inclusion thing. And there's so much upside because of, it's like breaking a wall. Before in the past, today I can see that wall is already broken. So we're able to build culture together, the Chinese and the Filipino together. And I think overall that's really more beneficial for the whole Philippines. I think the values that should be passed on to the next generation of Chinoys would be being disciplined, hardworking, and the resiliency of the Chinoys. Because right now, I believe that the younger generation, they can't have anything easily. So sometimes they might not value hard work so much anymore. So because technology is everywhere, innovation is everywhere. So they can get whatever they want easily. But it's not wrong as well. But they have to recognize that hard work is it's a quality that they have to value moving forward.
Chinese by blood, Filipino by heart. Hashtag Beyond Borders is brought to you by Jolly from Fly Ace Corporation. Doña Maria Brown Rice, my kind of rice from SL Agritech. BA Securities, your trading partner in Asia Pacific. Dash Cargo, propelling possibilities.